Glory to Jesus Christ. Today is Sunday, March 20th, the second Sunday of the fast. We remember St. Gregory Palamas today, and we heard in Mark's Gospel of four men bringing their paralyzed friend to Christ and having to lower him through the roof of a house to bring him to Christ. And I was struck today by the theme. If you listen to my homily today, you'll know I was really struck by the theme of arising, going up. So I wanted to connect that with our psalm reading today as well, and to connect those dots. We heard in the gospel today that as the man is lowered through the roof to see Christ, the first thing that Christ says to him is, "Your sins are forgiven." And that brings people to an uproar because only God can forgive. But ultimately, we hear in the gospel Christ saying, "So that you may know that the Son of Man has power on earth to forgive sins, arise, take up your bed, and go to your house." Arise. And I couldn't help but think as well that the four men, they had to take up the man onto the roof to be able to lower him in. So that theme of arising, it also connects to Gregory Palamas that we'll talk a little bit about at the end of this video as well. So the psalm that I want to read today, it's the Psalm 120, and this is part of a string of psalms that begin with Psalm 119 and go to Psalm 133 that are called Psalms of Ascent. That picks up the theme of arising, going upwards. So the one that I picked is Psalm 120 today. And so let's read that and then learn a little bit more about the Psalms of Ascent themselves. So Psalm 120, "I lifted my eyes to the mountains. From where shall my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Let not your foot be moved, neither let him who keeps you slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord shall keep you. The Lord is your shelter at your right hand. The sun shall not burn you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall keep you from all evil. The Lord shall keep your soul. The Lord shall keep your coming in and your going out from this present time and unto the ages." Psalm 120. I lifted my eyes to the mountains, and that'll connect to what I was thinking today with St. Gregory Palamas and Transfiguration on Mount Tabor. That Peter, James, and John are looking up on the mountain, and what do they see but Christ in his divinity? So these psalms are psalms of ascent. These are also known as graduals. In her services of worship, the Church ascends by degrees to the heavenly Holy of Holies, for worship is an ascent of the heart and mind to the Holy Trinity in adoration, praise, and thanksgiving. For example, the word Eucharist means thanksgiving. The climax of the Church's ascent is when the celebrating priest says in the divine liturgy, "Let us give thanks unto the Lord." In offering up the body and blood of Christ, historically in Israel, these songs were sung by the faithful as they walked from great distances up to Jerusalem for the feast of Passover, Pentecost, and Tabernacles. So as they were walking and heading in pilgrimage, they would be reciting these psalms. From this usage, the principal liturgical use in the Church comes as we progress through Lent toward Pascha. For these are the psalms sung each Wednesday and Friday at the presanctified liturgy as we make our pilgrimage to the resurrection of Christ, our Passover. So this is the 18th kathisma that's done normally at presanctified liturgies. And so the psalm that we read, we would hear that during on Wednesday and Friday for presanctified liturgies, Psalm 120. So there's even more to add about these psalms of ascent, and this is connected with the feast of the entrance of the Theotokos in the temple. According to holy tradition, the entrance of the Most Holy Theotokos into the temple took place in the following manner. The parents of the Virgin Mary, Saints Joachim and Anna, praying for an end to their childlessness, vowed that if a child were born to them, they would dedicate it to the service of God. When the Most Holy Virgin reached the age of 3, the holy parents decided to fulfill their vow. They gathered together their relatives and acquaintances and dressed the all-pure Virgin in her finest clothes. Singing sacred songs and with lighted candles in their hands, virgins escorted her to the temple. There the high priest and several priests met the handmaiden of God. In the temple, 15 high steps led to the sanctuary, which only the priests and high priests could enter, because they recited a psalm on each step. Psalms 119 to 133, the Psalms of Ascent. So as they were climbing into the Holy of Holies, one step would be one of those psalms that was read. So again, that theme of rising and going up. Let's connect that then to what we heard with St. Gregory Palamas today. And it says that towards the year 1340, the Athonite ascetics, with the assistance of St. Gregory, compiled a general response to the attacks of Barlaam. So Barlaam was fighting St. Gregory Palamas in the Orthodox Church about contemplative prayer. And so at the Constantinople Council of 1341 in the Church of Hagia Sophia, St. Gregory Palamas debated with Barlaam, focusing upon the nature of the light of Mount Tabor. On May 27, 1341, the council accepted the position of St. Gregory Palamas that God, unapproachable in his essence, reveals himself through his energies, which are directed towards the world and are able to be perceived like the light of Tabor, but which are neither material nor created. And so St. Gregory would have thought much about the event of the transfiguration of Christ. So that's so important in his theology about what can be experienced. I also read today during my homily that St. Gregory, on his deathbed, that St. John Chrysostom appeared to him in a vision with the words, "To the heights, to the heights." And then St. Gregory fell asleep in the Lord on November 14th, 1359. To the heights, that we're rising, that we're going towards God, that he is in heaven, and that the journey that we're on is one that slowly ascends and keeps on climbing. The reality of it is as well that sometimes as we're climbing and maybe getting closer, we fall and we have to get back up. So that theme again that came through today of arising, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, but just that phrase, to the heights, heights, it really kind of affected me as I was pondering that and thinking about it. And then connect that with the psalm today. I lifted my eyes to the mountains. From where shall my help come from? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. That same Lord that Peter, James, and John saw on Mount Tabor. So hopefully that all makes sense. And again, it's exciting to be able to read about these Psalms of Ascent. So may this be a blessed beginning of a new week during the fast, and may we continue our gradual ascent towards Christ and his holy Pascha. Glory to Jesus Christ.